One of the most common questions that we get is, what car should I buy? What car should I buy for the track? What car should I buy for dual use? And this being the One Lap Heroes, we did this podcast last year and we gave you a few of our different favorites. But it wouldn't be honest if we didn't show you what we would buy with our own money. So for 15 or 20,000 euro, we don't believe that you can buy a better car than this.
There it is.
I said, and I do believe that this is one of the best cars you can buy for 15,000 euro, 15 to 20,000 euro. I think that is honestly a fantastic option. And you clearly believe so because you put your money there.
I do believe so. Honestly, I do believe so. And I did buy it also because of the driving experience. I didn't buy it out of the blue. I bought it because I have driven the car before, pun intended. I have driven the car before. I have worked with these cars before. So it always left a bit of a, I knew secretly already back then in 2013, 14, that at some point I was going to have one. I remember myself geeking a little bit about this car and the whole process, and when it was called the GT86 and when it was developed, and I remember the first test mules here at the ring, back when I wasn't even working here. I remember meeting Tetsuya Tada, the chief engineer of the car, randomly at Brunchen, taking photos. I'm a bit of a Toyota geek, a bit of a Toyota fan. Yes, there is a Subaru badge in the front, but as you know, this is a joint effort. Actually, without Toyota, this wouldn't have happened. So I do like the heritage of the brand. I like, obviously, the LFA. I like the 2000 GT. I like the AE86. All of these things that make this car a little bit special, and that only we owners, of course, other people know, but it is special to us. I have to say that this is no LFA, by the way. It's no 2000 GT. It is a little bit more of an AE86 than I would like to admit, in a wrong way, by the way. But the cool thing also, and coming from Miatas, remember that I still own a couple of them, is that sometimes I find myself that this car is a little bit like an MX-5 with a roof. And also in the way that the car is put together, and the noises that the car does, and the way it drives, even though there is no double wishbone or stuff like this. So it is a similar experience. But yeah, here it is. If you tell me that I should bring it, here it is.
I did tell you that you should bring it, and it is for a reason. This is a little bit more along the lines of what we did with Gabriele and the ND. You have this car for a year. You have driven 10, 15,000, almost
15,000 kilometers.
Yeah, so actually you have driven plenty. So this is not like just randomly living like a week or even a month with a car, like with a press car. This is like our actual car. I think you know it by now very well. You have specific things that you like about it, specific things that you don't like about it. And I do think it is of interest, for people to see what kind of cars we enjoy driving, like on our normal lives. Let's jump in the car and go for a drive.
Let's go for some drive.
I want you to tell them, I know, but I want you to tell them the story how you got this car, because this car is not completely random. It has a very cool story.
This particular car is not random. No, this car is not, this car was from a good friend of mine and a friend of the channel, a like-minded driver.
Individual,
I have to say as well, in his approach and also in what he does for a living. He's working at Assetto Corsa, which maybe it rings a bell to you guys. So at some point he told me that he wanted to get the new GR86 that is actually coming out in Europe now. And I told him, cool, I'm ready to buy your car as something that, you say like that. And he told me, nothing would make me happier than you getting this car. A, because I know that you like it. B, because every time I go to the ring, and I do it a couple of times per year, I would see my love there. I know that you are going to take care of it, and that it's going to make you as happy as I was when I was driving the car. So consider it done. So it was a bit of a joke in the beginning, but then it wasn't.
I don't know if you remember, I actually pushed you to go for that one lap with him, to drive the car. And I secretly kind of said, like, if he drives it today, like on track, I think he's gonna be sold. And that was my secret plan.
And I was. Actually, I drove the car maybe you see a photo popping because this is a serious production. When I drove the car had suspension, anti-roll bars, wheels, a lip, a couple of things here and there, and I really liked it.
Absolutely.
So I came out of the car.
You had a big smile in
We
your
shake
face.
hands, and you were out there, and you're like, what? You just seal it, and I'm like, yeah, it's done. I don't know when or where. Eventually, it happened early in February in Italy.
It took a few months more, but
early this year in Italy, and it's been almost a year.
Exactly. This is not a random car. It also has been with you for a year. There is a reason why we don't do these videos like straight as we get the cars, and we're going to discuss about this like in the future maybe. But the idea is that we kind of want to actually live with them a little bit, before we share how we feel about something, about a product or a car. We kind of want to live with them. It's also same goes for our build. Sometimes you see like a video maybe 6 months after it was the part was installed in the car, and the idea is always for a year,
as you will see later probably.
Correct. So this car, how many kilometers? Because it's a well-used car, correct?
It is a well-used car, not abused. He's probably laughing. David is probably
not
laughing.
abused. He was a very caring.
Kilometers. So it's 166,000 kilometers right now. So it's been places,
So 166,000 kilometers and 13,000 kilometers with you.
13,000 kilometers with me, yeah.
These are actually big numbers. So this car has been driven. Let's get a little bit.
Because you know that some of the owners of these cars, when you get to this mark,
they say,
they expect the engine to implode, to
enjoy the car.
Exactly.
If the engine explodes, we're gonna fix it or change it. And as you also mentioned, these are cars that we used to work with. So we got a few years back a new GT86 rental cars here at the ring. We had a very specific idea about the cars. For example, I personally wasn't like a big fan of them. You
from minute one also, as I was I have to say a bit of a fanboy in the beginning. Then I got to know the car and I said, okay, this is actually what I expected, as good or as bad as I expected. I don't want to, But you, for example, were not a fan.
And I will explain why. But before this, I want us actually to speak a little bit about the things that you like about the car, because there's a couple of things that you like about the car, and there's a couple of things that I also like about the car.
Probably are not the same.
I'm almost certain that
there are, of course, a couple of things I don't like about the car. Actually, you told me, think about this video, go through the things that I haven't done anything. I haven't done my homework. So whatever comes, it's probably what I remember right now. But yes, there are things I like and I don't like as any other owner of any other car. And probably as any other person that doesn't own it and sees it, and you have also driven it a couple of times. So there are a couple of things that might,
Yeah, actually, I have the cool things that I have driven your car as well a little bit, and I told you how I feel about it. I would say one of the things that I personally love, and I know that this is something that we share, is I absolutely love the cabin of the car. The car has a very Spartan interior, a very simple interior, so probably some people are thinking, what is this guy saying?
But
he loves the Toyota plastic and whatnot.
Exactly. If you are not this person, you understand already that this car is not for you.
Correct.
If you care about the quality of the
leather
and
this and that and soft plastics,
exactly.
No. But
what I do like about the car, and I already give you one of the bullets, let's say, is the simplicity, the honesty, and the straightforwardness, let's say. So that Toyota thing that either you love it or you hate it, for me, it's a plus.
For me, this car is 100% Toyota, and funnily, especially compared to the modern car, I think this car screams Japan, like from the outside, the inside. While the new car,
it has lost a bit the charm.
Exactly, I think they rounded a little bit the whole thing, like metaphorically and literally. They made the whole design a little bit more pleasing, I would say, for a bigger audience. But it lost a little bit this edge that it has inside and outside, the strange lights front and rear. I do not like them, but I do like something with character, and in that sense, I do like that. So yes, 100% Toyota, and that is for sure a plus. Let's talk about something that we don't fully agree, drivetrain.
Forget for a second about the power, which is also important in the driving experience, but the ergonomics, the way the steering wheel feels, the way the steering rack is weighted, the driving position, the shifter, like everything that makes driving special, let's say, even at this speed, we're doing 60 kilometers per hour. and it's still a cool place to be. And then the simplicity of the cabin, that is something that I do like, particularly now that you need to have a million buttons and touch screens and stuff like that. I do believe that this back to basics approach is one of the things that attracted me in the beginning, down to the digital shitty looking clock that you have there and that you can reset in this button, and you know, nowadays you do everything by touch screens and stuff, and I will call it honesty of this car. Let's not forget that this is already 10 years old.
I agree that these cars are going away, so if you want to drive cars that are still like honest, you know, like they are honest about what they are, this is one of the few.
This is a car that doesn't promise the world, and of course it doesn't deliver it, you know. But for example, if you have to be a very specific, you have heard this before, but you have to be a very specific kind of guy or driver or owner to like this car. I do like the 2+2 recipe. I do like a good Japanese coupe car. Of course, I do like a front engine, rear wheel drive manual car. You know, not long ago.
That 50-50 split that people go crazy about.
Exactly. So it ticks
multiple boxes.
And actually, tell me something that is not the GR86 or the Mazda MX-5 that can do this for this price.
Not only this, but I will tell you that, for example, for me, when I was thinking about buying my MX-5, if there was a coupe alternative, I would actually pay more money and get that.
Same here.
I fell in love in the process with the MX-5, you know. But in reality, it wasn't my thing.
It's the same for me. Actually, the fact that I have an MX-5 and the car is a cabrio, it's a bit of an accident. You know, if the car would be available in coupe, I would have it any day of the week. As much as if this car would existed in the cabrio version, which was only like a 1 or 2 off.
Do you have a photo of that?
Never, I do have it. Yeah,
Let's
I would
put the
never
photo.
ever own an 86 cabrio, as I would never own an Evoque cabrio. You know?
Yeah,
these cars exist, and they are out there, and people are buying them in the numbers.
We agree 100%, and I'm afraid this is going to be a bit of a boring video because I think me and Sergio agree quite a bit on the things that make this car very cool. And
because you are also a bit of a Toyota guy, so you know.
I am a bit of a Toyota.
Gabriele here that owns a Toyota, but it's not. I don't know if that was a spoiler.
Next video.
But Gabriele that actually drives a Toyota and is not a Toyota guy should be seated here, so he could be slamming me and why this car and this engine and this drivetrain, you know.
So all in all, for me, this is a fantastic daily. If you don't have like kids and you don't need the space and you don't have any specific like requirements, this is a fantastic daily. Even an economical one, I would say.
Yeah, it's not. Actually, it doesn't break the bank in any front, you know. Tires are cheap. Brakes are available in different part compounds and brands and everything you want to throw at it. You can modify it, you know that, but this video is not about that. But yeah, running it, unless your right foot is extremely heavy, then obviously it's a very thirsty engine, as you know. But otherwise...
Exactly, but also when you want to drive economically, it can easily do it. What is your lowest consumption?
I don't know, 6.5 liters
exactly.
100 kilometers, I don't know.
But
actually,
for a sports car,
I didn't believe in the beginning the computer, but I went to the fuel station, made the numbers, and I'm like, okay.
So all in all, this car has practically costed you nothing, correct? You got to 150,000 kilometers, and theoretically many things could pop because it's an old used car. But in reality, you only did a bit of a preventive maintenance for yourself.
Not
a single issue.
This is just who I am. So I changed. They were actually changed not long ago before selling, but I still went and did gearbox flash, differential flash, engine, brake fluid, brake lines, brake pads, everything that is like consumables. I did it.
Yeah, but it wasn't because the car exactly needed it. It was more like you kind of wanted it.
And otherwise, I haven't spent a single euro on it. Like, I can't think about anything that I have added to the car. Maybe this gear knob that you might see later. That the other one was a bit too used, so I just went for this one.
Actually, buying a used car from someone that you know and that has actually maintained it without thinking of cost can actually be a very good thing, no?
Yeah, because I have to say also that the previous owner, I wouldn't have bought this car in such a straightforward way if I wouldn't know the previous owner. But knowing Davide, knowing he's a fastidious owner
that he also knew the car and he knew this and he knew that and he took care of this and he took care of that.
And I'm actually very happy.
He drove it hard,
but while taking care of it. And I'm happy for He's not the kind of guy that would ever start the engine to stop it after 30 seconds. This kind of guy, you know. If he starts a car, he means it. It's because he's going somewhere. Otherwise, he pushes it or you know, whatever.
Yeah.
So taking care of the engine while it's gone, all these things. I don't have to.
And sometimes you see the cars with like 40 or 50,000 kilometers, you know, but they have not been maintained well, or the fluids have stayed there for a very long time, or exactly they did like very small commutes. And I would say I would be much happier to buy the right car with maybe high mileage but well maintained than a low mileage car that you have no idea how.
I'm actually very happy for him because he now has the GT86 and he's
by the way, exactly, this answers also why he sold that. So all in all, these are the things
which, by the way, I told him it's going to be my next car.
Wow.
So, you know, I told him already that when he sells it, I keep the first option to buy.
You heard it here first. So like 10 years down the road, there's going to be like a video of Sergio living
maybe
a year.
I can afford it by then and maybe I can have it.
That means that we'll be making videos by then. I like the optimism. Yeah. So tell me this, all these things that we are discussing are cool and positive. But I said in the start of the video, and I've said this before, like many years back to you, I have said that I would never buy one of these cars. Mm-hmm. So there has to be some negatives.
There are some negatives, of course. There is no perfect car.
Can I tell you, for me, what is the one single feature of the car that throws me a little bit off? It's not going to surprise you.
I don't think you should tell me because I probably know. Probably the audience are not going to be surprised, but just go.
For me, one of the things that really takes the magic a little bit out of this car, it is the drivetrain, you know. And it's not because it's bad. Like in theory, it's fantastic. It is a very low, compact, flat engine, like pushed where it should be in the front to actually help a little bit, you know, like the layout of the car. So I understand all the theory. The idea was not to have something crazy, so this is also why there is no boost. There was a lot of thinking. There was a lot of smart people trying to make an actual good car. But sometimes this is not enough, because my biggest problem is I jump into these cars trying to be like a little bit like agnostic, like I don't know anything about the design process and anything about Toyota, and I just drive the thing. And what I found about the BRZ is, and the GT86, is that every time that I finished driving it, you know, and I parked it, and then I moved into something else, I completely forgot the experience. And driving your car again, it is the drive.
It is the character of the engine, I think, right? And I have to agree with you. The engine is not remarkable in any measurement, in any, you know.
But it's the same with the Miata. Don't think for a minute, no, you know, like you say now, these guys, they try to sell us
which
that
is,
100
I have to say also, it is also why I do accept this car, because I'm familiar with the recipe. I do like an inexpensive sports car in an A shape, which is very important for me. For example, I don't want the perks, and I don't want the consumption, and I don't want the extra weight of a turbo car. So I don't want this car in a turbo form. If I was ever going to do anything to this car, you know what I was, you know.
I know exactly what I know exactly what.
But we are not going there. So I do agree with you. The engine, there is only one word to describe it, and that is hopeless. Gutless, maybe. If
yeah, but for me, it's not even just the lack of power. It's also the lack of character. You know, yes, I love the S2000.
The sense of occasion is not there. It's a bit of a pity because everything else on the package, actually coming as an agnostic, which is a very good way to put it. You might be drawn by the, you know, the car looks good, and you know, it's a coupe and it's pleasing to the eye, and it's a blue color and it's manual, etc., etc. So maybe you are not familiar with the Toyota recipe or the way it should drive, etc. But if you then have an engine that goes together with what you see, you know, maybe you remember it as something maybe not remarkable, but something that's going to stay with you for a while. I agree with you. It's something that you can't forget. And if you're not a little bit religious about it, like if you don't sort of follow the cult, people have to preach about
exactly, yeah, of course. But if you have to like everything of the car, or you don't like it at all.
Exactly. No, this
you either take the whole pill or not.
Exactly. And it's not that I'm used for each and every Golf, GTI or Golf R to smoke me in any traffic light or anything.
Which happens.
Not that I'm going from traffic light to traffic light. It's not the Golf GTI. It's actually that every Skoda TDI, any Opel TDI, any VW TDI also do the same. So in a way, you are alone in this world. So there is no need for you. Nobody actually cares. Nobody needs you to go out and say, oh, do you know, but this is about the car is light and the steering wheel is great, so the feeling is great. No, we know all this. So I don't actually have to preach it. You have heard this a million times. So let's get that out of the picture.
I would say, since we are at it, and you just touched on it, I will say that for me, also, I'm sorry to say this, we might disagree, but I think also the steering is not as good as a couple of the top cars in the category.
Of course.
And exactly the same way the transmission, the transmission needs its time to...
I agree and disagree.
I don't think they
so
nail it.
For example,
Toyota is not that. Toyota is the company that nails the transmission.
You are spoiled for choice.
Yeah.
And you said that this is not at the same level of the best cars of the category, simply because this is not the best car in its category. The thing is that me coming from traditional power steerings, hydraulic power steerings, and this being one of the very first electric power steerings that I drove, I felt it was actually very, very well.
It is very well done.
Particularly for an, let's say, economy sports car. The thing is that you and me, that
we have driven also the other
fortunately cars. For work, we drive other things. The first time I drove a Porsche electric steering, I said, okay, this is how the Toyota should actually feel. The moment you're asking yourself, should I pop the bonnet and see if there is a hydraulic pump, and this is where...
Before you go crazy in the comments, you should have at least driven a couple of good MX-5s, an RX-8, an S2000, a Cayman, an M2, to understand a little bit what we're talking about. Like you can do hydraulic right, you can do electric power steering right, but you have to have like these benchmark cars, like of this category, like under 100,000 euro and rear wheel drive, to have a bit of an idea. The GT86 is fantastic, but is, for example, is not as fantastic as the MX-5 it is for its bracket.
Yeah.
However, you have to remember also that price-wise, this is a bracket up. So, of course,
yes,
of course, the expectation,
a little bit more should
my
be
expectation,
yeah.
exactly the same way, and my expectation from the drivetrain is a little bit higher.
And I do agree with you, for example, on the gearbox front. This is a little bit of an agricultural gearbox. I don't believe it's much more different than the MX-5 one, but the way it operates,
I think the MX-5 shifts a little bit better.
Yeah,
and actually,
I actually wish it would be, if it would be closer to the 5-speed of the MX-5, I would never stop, And instead of that, what I do is, so for example, the gearbox is very happy in cold weather. It's now 5 degrees, by the way. So this is, when the car is cold, I cannot shift in second gear. Can you believe it? So actually down my house, I let the car roll already in second gear, so I don't have to shift, because otherwise it will not go in. This is unacceptable. Yes, the car is used. It has been places and it has done things. But I have read of similar.
Man, I remember how these cars were new.
Exactly.
I remember our GT86 is coming brand new. We actually broke them in. They had like 1,000 kilometers or 2,000 kilometers.
Yeah.
And also, I can tell you how these gearbox feel when someone that is not comfortable with a manual uses them. How they feel after 5,000 kilometers or 10,000 kilometers. I can tell you also how these things explode. But I'm not gonna go there because I don't think that this is like typical.
How many clutches were replaced?
Exactly.
How many release bearings?
But I don't
replaced?
think this is typical. A well-driven car and a well-cared car, it is more like that, So of course, if you are not a driver that should drive like a manual car, the gearbox is gonna have a tough time.
Stay away from it, and actually don't even buy the automatic, because it is particularly bad.
No question. So I would say that's that, and that for me is like actually it is a bit of like the biggest thing, Like this is a little bit like the one single big negative that would make me not buy it.
It is a big one, actually. It is a big one. The thing is that.
However,
exactly. For everything else, like when you put all together in the envelope, and I look at the big picture, and I actually haven't mentioned this, and it was probably not one of the reasons by any means, but a Subaru BRZ was the first car I ever drove at the Nürburgring. So probably subconsciously, that sort of romantic idea was there, and also drove me to try and get that car. I don't know.
I love it. I do believe that this was very important, and this is the perfect segue to move on track. Guys, if you expect to see like a fancy on board that we are pushing,
forget about it.
The car driven at the limit, this is not it. It is the end of the day, the conditions are strange, and we basically just went for a lap, exactly as you see us.
I do believe this.
Just to talk
with
each other.
I think I drove like 3 or 4 laps the second or third day. of Touristenfahrten this year just to get a feel for the car, and that last lap of the year. So this car is not driven at the Nürburgring. It's not, you know, I didn't buy it for that reason.
Still, we're gonna give you a lap, so we're gonna cut now, and you're gonna join us on the nose life.
So they let this SUV behind us?
No, because no one will pass us, because this is a record run. This is the last record run of the year. Me and Sergio are going to break all the lap records, as you can clearly see from the way that we are prepped. We have our helmets and everything. And we are gonna go fight all the TF warriors. This is an SUV that just overtook us. I think whatever was my plan.
Probably your windows.
Exactly. Man, modern cars, huh?
They are fast.
Anyway, we are in a modern car. So this video is probably in the middle of another video that is like Sergio's review on his GT86. Nah, we still have the grips. Very cool. Man, we still have the grips, all is good. How much power does this thing have? This is a classical David versus Goliath battle. I have to be honest. I thought it would be a talking lap, but apparently we stay quiet. Car is good. Even the roll is not bad. Neutral with a little bit of
It is good. It's a lot of surprise as well. Just that I lost a little bit the thing, you know? Which is normal. I haven't driven for like years. You know?
We have retired, as the people in the internet know. We arrived at the peak of our performance, we took our records and then we stopped. And now we're driving only for pleasure. Which is what you're gonna see now. Look at these colors, look how pretty this place is. This is probably one of the best final days of the year I remember. Track is fantastic, colors, autumn colors. If you are watching this video with us and you don't like what you see, I cannot.
What are we doing the last lap of the year on this car?
Yeah. It's okay, I didn't know what to expect. But this is the beauty, nothing is planned. And I have to tell you something, the car is like a horrible tires. They are a little bit wooden. But it's behaving. I don't think he's as rusty as he says that he is. I think the driving skills are there. He just cannot fight the modern turbos, you know. Modern turbos. We don't have what is needed. Are we having less fun? I don't think so.
No, the car is good.
And those Winmax pads, they are actually performing.
Let me not miss the aim of that motor. Oh, there's a bit more going for it.
Fast cars.
Have to let them go.
Yeah. They are two.
Like glued together. And we let the other one go
The BMW trains.
as well. Look at those they are.
Very cool. And they are going quite fast. No, don't say this. Zach, this is for you. If you ever see this video, I don't believe so, but if you ever see this video, this is for you. These bronzine are like strong. They're staying there. Little bit of tire squeak all the way through the corner, as you do.
Here is where things get a bit boring.
When Serxio told me that he's gonna buy this GT86 with the BRZ, by the way, I told him like, but the engine, you know, like, I love everything about the car, but the drivetrain. And yeah, okay, like in this part of the track, you feel a little bit like back in the MX-5 days, but it's not true because the car is actually carrying some good speed.
Actually, this is the first time I do this, let's say, at speed.
We're around 200 kilometers per hour, so it's a healthy speed, and more than good for you to have fun. Now, if you want to win TF and get pissed about all these people blocking you and say, my lap is thrown away, this and that, this is not the car. Outside, is the car gonna do it? So. And the shifting action is on point. There has been some tweaks. No, really, I mean, it's a very good job. I actually mean it. I was complimenting him. And this, we're gonna get the photo. No, he was looking down. He was looking down. I hope we didn't lost it. Yeah, I promise. Yeah, Martin, if you are watching this. But I know that you got it. Even when you were looking down, you still got it. I will shut up because it's our favorite part of the track. Okay, I will not shut up. Someone else did the setup before me. There's a yellow flag, and when there's a yellow flag, you know, like we don't do the thing. It's a pity, it's a pity, it's a pity. Still.
Wow, that means that someone pulled it, huh?
I have to say that I'm honestly fucking impressed.
With the car?
Yeah. I did not expect that. And yeah, there is like actually a very big accident, like tire wall move, like. It's very funny because although you would expect like a last day of the year with beautiful weather to be like a little bit of like a shit show, and it was a fantastic day. It was the exact opposite. The track was actually beautiful, quiet, no big accidents, very little yellow flags, nothing like the opposite of the last couple of months. So
the light is cool and the trees,
everything was perfect, and now this. Okay. Still, it is the end of the day. It's literally the last lap. So I hope it wasn't someone that just went for it. I think there are 2 accidents even, so it's a little bit unfortunate. That's the Nürburgring for you guys. Part of the game. Part of the game. Back to BRZ.
Huh?
I have to say it was a beautiful buy. You did very, very well. No.
For a daily.
For a daily that can be driven at this pace with no prep. The car is absolutely on stock suspension. I actually drove it a few days back, and we were discussing with Sergio. I said, like, I would put suspension because I was sure that when you take it on the track, it's gonna be like bad and this and that. It's actually
Quite compliant.
yeah. There is a hint of understeer. The car squeals and it's there.
But you wait a tiny bit.
Exactly, and then even when you lift it, you rotate a little bit. But other than that, it's actually doing the thing. Probably would be faster with suspension, but is it really missing it? It's funny. I thought that I was missing it more on the road, but all in all, man, this is fantastic. This is more fun than the Twingo. That at least from here, from where I am, from the passenger side, it's more fun than the Twingo that he used to have before, and he did hundreds of laps. You never saw this car in all of years, but like, it was there and it did the thing. And yeah, it actually it's a cool cabin. We both like the whole thing. It kind of. Yeah, but like a little bit geeky and Toyota and trying to be a bit futuristic, but also like simple. I don't like the thing. It is funny how these cars age, because when they were new, I had a different opinion about them. Then when you told me that you were buying one, like almost 1 year back, different opinion. And now we do this lap. nonsense. But we're still at it, we love this place. No?
Yes, it's been a while, I haven't driven it. No. Yes.
It's happening.
No, come on.
Really?
Oh, it was happening, man.
By the way, we just missed the last lap of the day.
That was the last lap.
Split second. For a fucking split second. So strange. Like we're literally there. Like we were in the back. Okay. Still
was good.
Still very cool. Serge, give me some thoughts.
I thought we had it, huh?
Yeah, well, by the way. Tell me a little bit about this thing.
The car is cool. I wouldn't smash it every day at the track, you know, because it's.
You didn't buy it for this.
I didn't buy it for this. Exactly. So for the occasional fun lap, or maybe wet laps, or you know, a couple of laps like this, like sort of demo slow laps, is cool. Otherwise, some things have to be addressed, you know.
Are you gonna address them? Is it gonna be a project?
No, this is not a project. You will not see this car becoming a project, going in you know, pieces and panels out and engines dropping and gearboxes and subframes and stuff. No.
Engine only for a K24 swap.
No.
How is it called? F20 elimination kit.
Yes.
FA20 actually.
FA20 elimination. No, delete kit.
FA delete kit. Yeah, we're not doing that. I think.
We're not doing that. We're not doing that. Not for now. When the engine goes, maybe. So to close it off, and just for you to understand why I got this car in the first place and what kind of owner I am. When I got this car, I deliberately removed all of the modifications that the previous owner, a friend of mine, did to the car, so coilovers, anti-roll bars, wheels, etc. And I reverted everything back to stock, or OEM Plus, as I like to call it. So much so that, for example, the gear knob was a little bit broken, and I imported this one from Japan, from the very basic model that is not even, if you think this is a base model, you have to see the Type RA that they sold in Japan. So this is that one. It's actually a little bit heavier than the stock one, and it makes the shifting even better than the stock one. Same with the rear brake light, the extra brake light, that was killing me because it's super tall and it bothers you because it's right there when you know you want to look behind the car. It's right in the middle, so I actually lowered that light. But I actually have to go to the first modification, and a very important one to me. Not only this car is gutless and it sounds like rubbish, but Toyota managed to fit a pipe that brings that synthetic noise to the, actually it's not synthetic, it's the real gutless cheatbox engine note of that car coming into the cabin via the footwell of the passenger. So what I did is remove that altogether, simplify the intake a little bit, and actually it's still not finished because this is not now cold air intake, because there is actually warm air coming through here. So this used to be the sound tube, I think it's called, and it goes through there all the way to this bracket and into the cabin. So I now removed all of that crap and simplified the intake a little bit. So that is that. That is my 2015 Subaru BRZ. It's not exactly a showstopper, even less with these ugly wheels and the non-turbo that everyone is asking for, etc, etc. For what I do with the car, I would probably be better off with an Audi A2, which is what actually Kostas wants me to buy. So I joined the PT Cruiser crowd and the Multipla crowd, etc. But I have to say that the occasional wet lap I do with the BRZ in the wet at the Nürburgring would probably not be as fun in the Audi A2, or maybe yes, who knows, maybe we actually get to see that in the future.